This is a grade 4 Mission 3 overview for Zearn Math. If you're using Eureka Math, it's the Module 3 overview. The title is Multiply and Divide Big Numbers. This is a high priority mission, maybe the highest priority, or definitely one of the highest priorities in 4th grade math. Later will come fractions, which is equally as important. But this is the basis for everything moving forward. The central focus is multiplication and division. It builds upon fact knowledge and place value understanding carried forward from 3rd grade and moves forward to multiply and divide multi-digit numbers. In the 3rd grade, they've done a lot of work with single-digit fluencies, but they haven't done really much of anything with multiplication and division other than reviewing the grouping aspects of those and using arrays to multiply smaller numbers. So you can build on that understanding. The progression starts with area and perimeter problems. It's used to introduce multiplicative comparisons and also probably to develop the area model. Then they build upon multiplication strategies learned in 3rd grade, so single-digit strategies and the strategies they use to develop single-digit understanding. They use a lot of distributive property, commutative and associative properties. They use those to develop the large facts from small facts, and you'll use the same types of properties to work on multi-digit operations. Some examples are listed here. Of course, you'll see them as you go through the lessons. Then they move to division using place value strategies and properties of operations the same. A big push in division is using place value disks in place value chart. This is really difficult for students to understand, and a report I get from teachers is students get frustrated with it. Make sure you're using the standard algorithm, and the lessons lead to this, where you're using the standard division algorithm beside the place value strategies. And make sure students are working with the standard algorithm, because in the end they need to be efficient with that. And not all students are going to understand the place value method. Especially strugglers are going to really get gummed up here. So use a lot of teacher guidance, be patient, don't worry. It's not a big deal if they don't completely get the place value using the disks. I'll create another video eventually showing some other ways to develop conceptual understanding with division that may be more effective with struggling learners. And then at the end, you use the area model to multiply 2-digit by 2-digit numbers. And most of the problems lay the standard algorithm beside place value or beside the area model. And it's not within your standard that students become fluent with the standard algorithm in the 4th grade, but I would definitely work it as much as you have the chance to. There are only 4 or 5 lessons with 2x2, and it's something that students struggle with as they move forward into 5th grade. So I'll actually remind you to continue to spiral the skill and have them work problems moving forward. And as they're moving forward, I will recommend that they start trying to move into the standard algorithm with 2x2 exclusively. Because when you get into the 2x2s, the area model, it's a great model. It's a great model for developing conceptual understanding. It really helps build number sense as far as the magnitude of number if it's done well and taught well. But it's really inefficient, and it's prone to a lot of error as the numbers get bigger, especially when you go beyond 2x2. So they need to start making the transition to the standard algorithm as soon as possible. Spiral fluencies for this mission are multiplication facts. If kids don't know them, and by now you should have enough review time that you've moved everything forward in long-term memory to the point it's automatically retrievable again. Students who don't have automaticity with facts are going to struggle here with their fluency. So identify those kids, make sure they have a place value chart, spend some time, a multiplication table, and spend some time teaching them how to use it fluently, because they need to become really fluent with that table. Core fluencies, so those things that we'll work on actually that are already within the mission, are review of area from earlier grades. That's a good practice, and it's likely you'll have an area problem, so nothing wrong with those, an area problem in your year-end testing. And then practice with familiar multiplication facts and partial products. So that's built in. As you develop the multi-digit skills, practice with single-digit facts is built in to the lesson. So that type of fluency is already in there, even though I still recommend like a times, not a mad minute that you don't time, but just practice facts from time to time. That's actually great homework. Ideal homework is if you can get parents to work on those facts and fluencies with students at home. The foundational goals, so what moves forward as being, so what aspects of this mission become essential and enduring that contribute to all future math success, is the standard algorithm for multi-digit operations 4x1, and then eventually also for 2x2. Students need to become fluent with the standard algorithm. And I get some pushback here from time to time because people see the standard algorithm as being a formula. Well, it is and it isn't. It's built on place value reasoning just like all of the other models, and it's built based on the structure of number in the base 10 system. This was not something ordained by God. It was something a man developed, so it's all formulaic. Everything you teach is somewhat formulaic. The standard algorithm is just the most efficient one. So don't shy away from it. And I'm going to develop a video kind of explaining why I think this way if you disagree. And it's okay if you disagree. Just find what the students can be the most efficient with and make sure during fluency times they work on that a lot because they need to become efficient with these operations. And then, to me, a very important aspect of this is not just being able to solve a division problem, but understanding grouping as an aspect of division. It's easier to understand grouping in multiplication. I think students struggle with division a lot because they don't really see it as a grouping problem. For instance, when students subtract, things really do go away. You have 4 apples, you eat 2 of them go away. When you divide, nothing goes away. You're just grouping. You have 4 apples. 2 people want to eat them. How many can each student eat, or each kid eat? Then each kid can eat 2. So you make 2 groups of 2 from 4. So 4 divided by 2 is saying how many groups of 2 can we make out of 4. So keep using the term grouping. I think that'll help, especially with struggling learners, in the end, with being more efficient with division, even with the standard algorithm. What doesn't go away, so the things that you just need to continue to repeat always in math, and I would argue all the way through middle school and high school, all fact fluencies you need to revisit from time to time moving forward. And then addition and subtraction algorithms, continue to throw them a problem or 2 here or there just to make sure that skill is fresh. And as always, when they're using a standard algorithm, take every opportunity you can to ask them about their place value understanding. Special notes, so if you're running short on time, which if you're running out of time for this one, you shouldn't. You should have streamlined other missions so you have adequate time for this one because it is definitely in the top 2 most important ones that you teach in the 4th grade. But you'll probably have strugglers who aren't getting everything, so this should help you key in on things for them that maybe are optional. And one of those would be place value disk models. To me, they're optional for struggling learners. I'm not saying don't use them. Teach them, do the best you can with them. But the cognitive load is so heavy in those models that a struggling learner who perhaps isn't even efficient with their fact retrieval yet is really going to struggle with something like that. It's not that they can't do it, still present it to them, but it may not work. And if it doesn't work, don't kill yourself trying to make it work. Focus more on the algorithms or other models. And of course, within the algorithms, you can continue to develop place value reasoning. You can have a place value chart on the wall that you're continually referencing that's very visual, and the visual things will work better for a struggling learner because visual long-term memory is much stronger than any other type of memory. So put a place value chart on the wall and reference it often. Focus on grouping aspects of division, and I've even mentioned a lesson in here that provides a really good example of where I think would be a key place to focus with struggling learners. And the area model for multiplication, it's a great strategy for concept development. It's inefficient, so as quickly as you can, move kids to some other form of algorithm that is more efficient. Again, I recommend the standard algorithm, but choose your poison there. Just make sure they become fluent with that skill.